Start here. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. وأفضل الصلاة وأتم التسليم على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. أسأل الله تبارك وتعالى أن يجعل نياتنا خالصة لوجهه الكريم. I praise Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. I thank Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala. I ask Allah to send countless blessings and salutations upon Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his family, his companions, and all those who follow them in excellence until the day of judgment. I want to say something that I've been thinking about all night. Okay, go ahead. Give me 1 second before I do that. Sorry, no sound. So let me go back. I want to share something with you briefly. It's a request, actually. And I'm speaking from myself, but on behalf of many, if not most, African American Black imams. One of the most difficult things for imams, leaders in our community, is commitment and trust from our congregations. It's not a debate. I'm sharing a thought with you, right? And it may not be exactly the same in every community, but there are some similarities, right? From the imam side, most imams, I'm not saying every, most imams give their life for their communities. Most imams. And one of the most frustrating things for those imams is the constant struggle that they have to get our people to cooperate with going forward, with building, right? That is a frustrating reality for many African American imams. As you learn, and all of you are learning, learn to put the da'wah, the knowledge, before yourself. If you learn nothing after the correct belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of these lessons, learn that the da'wah, spreading the deen, educating our people, is more important than everything else. And so long as your imam is spreading the da'wah of La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, conveying the creed of Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, cooperate with them in everything that is not haram, right? Don't make in our communities us against them. We have one common goal, that is to convey this deen in the best manner. Don't let anything come between that and before that, right? And assist one another in doing that. Our communities will thrive when we have that common objective, right? But when a dunya, the world, money, title, status, all that stuff, when that is the primary objective of the members of a community, that community is bound to fail. Don't be deluded. Some people think, if, we were more this and we were more, no. If you're more learned and attached to the deen, you'll be a winner. The further you are away from the attachment of spreading the deen and making it the foremost priority, the further you are away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if in the world you think you've accomplished something. This is my advice to you, right? Nothing, zilch, zero, is more important than the da'wah of La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, right? Like, we must get that in our minds, right? And everything else should complement that, not take priority over that. Please, please, please get that in your minds, especially us as a people.
Sheikh Muhammad Saeed Ramadan.
We used to, in our Christian days, some of us who were Christians, we used to hear that old saying, and it's true. What profit a man if he gains the whole world and lose his soul? In other words, we knew that from the past. Now we have deen, and that's even more true. We learn as zuhud. We learn to have an approach for the afterlife.
Kurdistan.
Right?
In 1933.
It's the saddest thing that I see, that all we talk about and
Mullah,
we're concerned about
mullah,
it. What about
mullah,
the dunya,
mullah
worldly aspect?
Ramadan,
None of us
mullah
say what
Ramadan,
we're going to do about the da'wah, how we're going to learn more, how we're going to spread more knowledge, how we're going to
and the
increase our
master
teachers,
Sheikh
how
and
we,
his father's
this is not a
footsteps. He
concern.
became one of the
And I'm
60
talking about
cornerstones of
in a
Islamic
lot of communities.
jurisprudence. He completed the secondary studies at the Institute of Islamic Guidance, after which he joined the Faculty of Religion
Right?
at Al-Azhar University.
So
Al-Azhar.
please, that
He
is my
received his
advice.
degree in 1955 CE. The following year, Sheikh helped the
Uh-oh.
of the
Reader, can you hear?
Assalamu alaikum.
Uh, tell you. So you shouldn't hear the echo anymore, right? Uh, so I just want to emphasize that. I talked to several imams, and you got Imam Naeem and Imam Fahim. They're here, and there may be other imams. But Imam Naeem and Imam Fahim, do you sense the same thing that I just mentioned in your own respective communities? That's a question for y'all. I already know the answer, but as a do you find the same thing? But people need to understand that as imams, we have this concern. You know, and you hear Imam Naeem and then Imam Fahim and other imams, many. So I'm sharing it with you because maybe you don't get to talk to imams and see how they feel, right? It is true. So let's work on that, right? We're learning and we should improve and get better in our efforts to da'wah. Tahira, you're not an imam. Even if you want to be, forget about it. Not happening. No. And even if you're worrying about, even if you're worrying about your imam and you can trust him or not, watch him, right? That's all. Watch him. Most imams, first of all, most imams in the black Muslim community are not even paid. So their work is never compensated. And most of them, even if you pay them, the work they do, you couldn't pay them what it's worth. Right? Right? I repeat that. Most of the imams are not paid. So they work for free. And even if you pay them, you probably couldn't compensate them properly for their work. Most imams who are real imams, I'm not talking about somebody who's a crook. I'm talking about the imam. He's he's uh he's working, and you're around him, you see it. You know what he sacrifices. You're watching, unless you're just completely selfish and don't realize, like blind. But if you watch, you see the sacrifices of the imam. You watch. But that's necessary, not only for the imam, but for all of us. We have to build our communities. We have to struggle, right? Man, Fahim, you're funny. The people I work for can't afford me, and the people who can afford me don't think I'm worth it. You're funny. But that's just my advice. Work more than you complain. And if you work more than you complain, and you work for Lillahi Ta'ala to spread the knowledge, Allah will facilitate everything else. Trust me, it works. Put the knowledge first, please. Put the knowledge first. Put the spreading the religion first. Make that your priority. And everything else will fall in line. Uh, I can speak personally for Masjid Muhammad's side. That's what we do. And Allah has blessed us. He blessed us with you because we put the knowledge first. Right? Eventually, I think it's doable, but it takes time. And we should do it, especially for Black imams. But that's something that we're going to do overnight. We should do it. And those who are willing to do it, we have a scholars fund that we could start. We started already to do that, right? So if you went, I'll give it to you. So just in case you want to do it, I'll share it with you. This is what this fund is for. We already have it. But it's not just for imams, but it can be allocated for them. This fund is solely for that purpose, what you just asked for, Tahira. That's the fund. So if you click that link, anyone who wants to do that, that fund is solely for imams and teachers and students who are studying solely so they can be supported. It has all that money in that fund. That's what it's for. But that's something down the road, I believe, that we need to do. But more important, everyone who wants to work should work in da'wah first. Put that first and foremost. That's all, right? And if you could do that, inshallah, everything else will be facilitated. But I just had several discussions, and we always bucking, not just in my community, with other communities. We have to stop this spirit of everybody do what they want. We're never going to get anywhere like that, right? We have to work together. It's just something you need to know if you want to be successful, right? If you want to fail, keep doing what we've been doing. They have this old saying, how's that worked out for you? Like, pay attention. See how all that rebel stuff, us against them, and you see how it worked out for the others who came before you. So let's fix it, inshallah, slowly but surely. Tayyib, the other thing, one more thing before we start. Rita, are you there?
I'm here.
Hello?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, you there?
I am.
Okay, give me 1 second. The other thing, the last thing.
Let me mute myself. I'm back on mute.
The other thing is learn well. I observe us. It's a rough thing that some of us, have been learning the religion for a long time. And to discover that we had a lot of things that were wrong or we didn't know. Don't take that as your own fault necessarily. Sometimes the information just wasn't available to you, right? And what was available to you, that's what you strove to learn. You have no other choice. But when correct information comes to you, adjust, right? As I told you, in this country, unfortunately, the default position in Islam, so-called Sunni Islam, is Wahhabi thought and Wahhabi ideology. So many of us were Wahhabi and didn't know it. We didn't know, honestly. We thought that was the correct understanding of Islam, right? So what I'm telling you is make learning a constant process in your life. And when you learn and you discover things, read well, study well, and then make the proper adjustment, right? The more you get exposed to things, the more you'll learn. That's just life, right? But don't get stuck at where you're at. You're going to develop the more you learn. You're going to learn things you never heard. And trust me, there is way more that you don't know than you know. Can we put that up? There is way more to learn that we don't know than what we know. If you keep this in mind, you'll never get disheartened. Never. There is way more to learn and to know than what you know, right? Way more, right? So have it in your mind that I'm going to learn some things in life, in my religion, that are going to change positions that I had previously. That's natural, right? Imam al-Shafi'i, radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, he has in his madhab two schools. They have al-madhab al-qadim and al-madhab al-jadid. Why he has two schools? Because when he was in Iraq, he had a certain outlook to certain legal positions. When he moved to Egypt and he came into other things, reevaluated things, he changed some of his positions. Two, it is a new school. And some issues are different. And the Shafi'is, in the Shafi'i position, the school of al-Shafi'i is known as al-Madhab al-Jadid, except in a few cases which we follow al-Madhab al-Qadim, even though Imam al-Shafi'i changed his position on that issue. But we still follow the old school, which tells you something. There's a constant process of reevaluating things. Did y'all follow that, what I just said? It's a constant process. It works. It happens. These are with scholars, mujtahid scholars. What about us? What about us, common people? Do y'all follow what I mean? Is this point clear? If you would have saw me just 13 years ago, I was much more rigid than I am now. Just 10 years ago. 10 years ago, every other word out my mouth was kafir, kufr. 10 years ago. Right? As I sat with different scholars and different teachers and looked at things in different ways and read different books, studied different things, I saw that my previous position was a little excessive. Well, a lot excessive. But that's the life of learning. And then it took me a while to adjust. If I told you some of the stories that how I used to be, and one of my teachers said to me, he said, you have this stench of a certain position that everybody around you going to get that stench. But I live with this teacher, I travel with this teacher, and I saw the difficulties of this teacher, and he showed me a whole lot of stuff. And this is overseas. And when I saw all that stuff, I realized the faultiness of my position. Right? And it took a long time to get out of that. Right? Because I was deep in it. And not that was necessarily wrong, because it was a scholarly position. But it wasn't necessarily the best scholarly position. Though it was a scholarly position, it was, but not the best. Especially when I think about it now, relating it to our people. Maybe it might apply differently to somebody else, but to apply that to our people is injustice, right? Such strict, harsh approach. It doesn't work, right? It's misapplied, right? I'm just sharing these things with you because we have a general work that we have to do as a community, right? And we need to go forward when we're gone. We need to set in process a productive growth in Islamic knowledge. So I'm sharing these things with you to help you along, right? It's important. It's extremely important. We have a lot of work to do, right? And if we don't understand, then we're going to keep making the same mistakes, right? So I say that because some of us are learning things they never heard before. And it's going to the core of their belief systems. Some of us was teaching some of the things we learn now, and it's totally wrong. But we didn't know, right? So some of us, for instance, were teaching bad things about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We thought that was the belief. And now we're learning that that was incorrect, but we used to teach it. So we taught that Allah had hands and eyes and feet, and that Allah was on a throne, and all those things. We were teaching that, some of us, and we didn't know that was available to us. Let me ask you a question, Wali. Since I heard the question, I didn't answer it for a reason, right? When you say, was the Wafdi Muhammad community influenced by Wahhabi thought, you should ask another question. Are the Wafdi Muhammad community exempt from everything African Americans are confronted with? That's a question. Is the Imam Wafdi Muhammad's community, are they exempt from the things that all other African Americans are faced with? That's a question. I'm going to help you, right? Whoever asked the question, and Abdul Wali answered the question. Are the Wafdi Muhammad community exempt from the same thing the rest of African Americans have faced with? Excuse me. One slid by. Watch the trolls from Facebook. One got by me real fast. I missed it. So don't press. I keep telling y'all that. That thing came so fast and got by. From Facebook, there are trolls and computers stuff. Don't press no buttons. I don't know what it says on your side, but don't press it, whatever you do. Okay. So the answer is no, right? So therefore, if the rest of the African American Muslim community is exposed and affected by Wahhabi ideas, isn't it fair to say that, of course, some of them have been affected as well? Isn't that obvious? Right? Isn't that obvious? If everyone else is affected by it, even if not all of them, obviously some of them have been affected as well. It's a condition that everybody has been affected with. Do you follow what I'm saying? They're in the same boat as us. They're no different. When they go to the store, they go to the same bookstore as we go. Do they have their own bookstores and they don't go nowhere else? No, they go to the same bookstore you go to. When you go to the bookstore, what do you see on the shelf? Wahhabi books. Isn't that what they see on the shelf? When they buy the same things you buy, right? So everyone's in the same boat. And the only ones who won't do that are those who Imam Wafdi Muhammad, rahimahullah, trained very, very well, and they followed in his footsteps, so they don't do that. They are different. They're the exception to the general rule. So if you want to follow the Imam Wafdi Muhammad and you want to know what he wanted them to do, I'll give you no better example than Imam Sulaiman Hamid, the Imam of the Alana Masjid of Islam. If you want to know what the picture that Imam Wafdi Muhammad wanted, look at him. I'm not saying he's the only one, but he's one for sure that he is a living example of what Imam Wafdi Muhammad would have liked to see the future of his community. Hands down. And then you go look at what he teaches. He's teaching. He has classes. You can look. So if you want that picture, he's an example of it. I know he don't like me. Imam, why are you putting me like that? But it's true. I'm extremely proud of his work. I'm extremely proud of the work of Imam Sulaiman Hamid. No doubt about it. He is doing an amazing job. You know. All right, so y'all follow my point? I was a long points, but I just wanted to clarify these issues because we have a lot of work. So please, if you in these classes and I'm debunking, is that called it debunk? Yeah. Or I'm hitting a lot of ideas that you had, be patient. Don't worry, it's going to be more. We're learning, right? Right, we're learning. We're learning and we're growing together. No big eyes, no little U's, us. an important, significant us, right? Right. So that's our process. All right. Is my points here clear? Any questions about my points? Because even though we're learning, we're also growing as a community. So it's not just read books and not deal with reality, right? Are you ready, reader?
Inshallah.
Inshallah. We can do it.
Apologies for the mic earlier.
No need to apologize. We benefit so much from you. We will be patient with whatever you do.
Apologies for the mic earlier.
All right. We're on page 19. Oh, the book. I'm sorry. The book is available. I was told that some of you tried to order the book and it wasn't in stock. It is in stock.
Mic earlier.
Reader, you all right?
I think my mic is broken.
Yeah, your mic is broken.
Assalamu alaikum. I keep muting it. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but something's wrong with your mic.
Because I put it on mute and I'm just talking to myself. Excuse me.
Can you hear us? I'm sorry.
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you with all your
all the time, right? Sorry.
So everyone's hearing all of your frustrations. And they think you had too much coffee.
I thought I was in private thoughts is what's happening. Excuse me.
You don't have private scattered thoughts, only me. Let's be patient. She got to fix her microphone. Okay. In the meanwhile, is any question about what I mentioned? Is it clear? Let me ask a question. Y'all have been here a while. All of you who've been here for at least a year and a half, some of you 2 years, some of you a year, by now you should recognize a default Wahhabi ideology, shouldn't you? I mean, I would think you've been in these classes all this time, you should be able to recognize Wahhabi ideology from a mile away. I would think. Am I right or wrong? I mean, you should be. You got it straight yet, reader?
I think it's fixed.
All right. All right. So she says sometimes. Tahira, if they wouldn't call me a jerk, I had the perfect joke for you. But I'm gonna leave that one out to the next time I see you, and I'm gonna tell you that joke why you said sometimes. Oh my goodness. You are so funny. All right. You ready? We're on page number 19. And so the book is available. Did I put the link up? There's only a few left. So if you don't have it, listen, I think we only have like 10 or 12 left. So if you don't have it, don't wait. Order now. but I think it's only like 10 or 12 left. So those who were looking for this book, Ala Madhabiya, because we're going to start this weekend, probably tomorrow we probably start because we're going to finish this today. So if you don't have it, go for it, inshallah. All right, let's go to our reliance. You ready? We're on page 19.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah. The author, may Allah Ta'ala have mercy on him, said, B4.0 Irrational Evidence for Following Specialist. Muhammad Sa'id al-Buti. A third aspect is the obvious rational evidence, which we express in the words of Sheikh Abdullah Diraz, who says, the logical proof is that, assuming that a person does not have the qualifications for ijtihad, when an instance of a particular religious ruling arises, he will either not worship by any means at all, which all concur is impermissible, or if he worships by means of something, it will either be by examining the proof that verifies the ruling or by following a competent authority.
All right, so let's look at this. We already established you got two types of people. You got the mujtahid or the muqallid. So when you're going to face a ruling that you don't understand, right, you're going to either approach it from the side of a mujtahid or the side of a muqallid, right? And the mujtahid is going to know all the evidences of that. And the one who's muqallid won't know. So they're going to have a choice. Either you got this thing and you don't worship at all until you learn all the stuff about it, or you follow someone who already knows. That's your two choices. The first part is that we're not going to worship at all. No one accepts that. You have to pray. None of us, and we are living evidence at that point. Is there anyone in this room who know the evidence from the Quran or the Sunnah or other sources for every single part of the prayer that they do? Is there anyone in here who knows that? And remember, lying is haram. Before you answer, remember, al-kadhib, haram. Lying is haram. That's a question. Is there anyone who knows the proof for every single act you do in the prayer? Is there anyone? This helps us. Anyone. I don't care who you are. Is there anyone? No. Right. So that means, but all of us pray, right? But all of us pray, right? Every single one of us pray. So therefore, how did we pray? We followed someone else. And that one you followed should be a mujtahid scholar, right? Right. Right. So that's the point he's making. And all of us are living proof of that point. Now, who you following is another story. It should be a mujtahid. A lot of times people are following non-mujtahids, right? That's the problem. Go ahead.
The former is inadmissible because it would lead, in respect to him and all others like him, to in-depth examination of the evidences for all such instances, preoccupation with which would obviate the earning of livelihoods, disrupting trades and occupations, ruining the world by neglect of tillage and offspring, and preventing anyone's following another's ijtihad, placing everyone under the most extreme hardship.
And this is what you don't realize. We already described what it takes to be a mujtahid. Number one, if everyone was responsible for that, we would ruin the world. No one would be able to do nothing else. They would ruin the world. Because to do ijtihad, and the conditions, which we talked about some of them, right? It will take some of us a lifetime to do that, and we still wouldn't complete it. Let alone some of us just don't even have the natural intellectual abilities to do that. And even the ones who have the intellectual no, mujtahid is totally different root word from tawheed. Totally different. They're two different root words. Totally different. Ijtihad is from the root of struggle, make effort. Tawheed is from the root of oneness. It's two different words altogether. So that is not a reality for any of us. Only rare are you going to find people at that level, right? Rare. These are exceptional individuals that are reaching the level of mujtahid, right? Go ahead.
The sole remaining alternative is to follow another, which is the means through which one must worship in such a case.
And that another is the mujtahid scholar, because we have to worship, right? And for instance, for those who know, what are the main book that the Wahhabiyya use, or so-called Salafiyya, for learning how to pray? Many of them nowadays. What is the main book they use? Does anyone know? I'm talking about the common people. When they want to learn how to pray, what is the main book they use? Many of them. Does anyone know? Because they don't follow madhabs. So what is the book they normally would refer to learn how to pray? Right. So they would be al-wasatiyya. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. All right, Malika, I'm not going to put you on. I'm going to put you on the spot. Man, I love my people. Right? Al-Wasatiyya is a book in Aqidah, not learning to pray. Al-Wasatiyya is a book, right? So they would use the Al-Albani's book, The Prophet's Prayer, right? So that's where they would learn. So they are following somebody. Who are they following? Nasruddin al-Albani. The question becomes, I'm not following Abu Hanifa or Malik or Shafi'i or Ahmed. I'm following al-Albani. From the pure scholarly look, is al-Albani equal to Abu Hanifa or Malik or Shafi'i or Ahmed in knowledge? That's a question. If we're going to put a scale of knowledge and understanding of proofs and evidences and the tools of scholarly research, is al-Albani on the same scale with Abu Hanifa and Imam Abu Hanifa, Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmed? Are they on the same scale? Answer me. If we know, answer. Are they on the same scale? Okay. So if you're saying they're not on the same scale, right, then they're doing taqleed of al-Albani as opposed to taqleed of not only Abu Hanifa, Malik, Shafi'i, and Ahmed, those great imams, right? But under those imams are what? For 1,200 years, what are under those imams in terms of research? I want to give you this whole picture. We discussed this already. Under those imams are what? Do y'all realize? their students and understand their students were the top scholars of their time, right? And the students of their students at every level, you had the top scholars of the era refining, checking, providing evidences, support, legal, textual, rational, at every level of our chain to today, still to this day, right? In every school for 1,200 years, at each level, right? The top scholars. Then you're talking about Al-Albani, and at each level under Al-Albani, you don't even have people who reached anywhere near his rank among students who conveyed. So you're talking about one man effort with inferior students compared to the greatest intellectual and scholastic minds the Muslim Ummah has ever known at every level, and you're going to compare the two. Do y'all see what I'm saying? So you're doing taqleed of Al-Albani, but you refuse to do taqleed of the massive amount of scholars in each school, besides the Imam who was Mujtahid Mutlaq that the school was named after. Do y'all understand that? Is that clear? So the works are not even in comparison. Is the point clear? If you want an analogy, that is like saying the person in the kindergarten or first grade, to give credit, let's go up to the third grade, is you're going to take his work over the work of a top scholar who studied at all the major universities at the highest levels. So that scholar who studied at Princeton, Yale, Harvard, you're one of those lifelong learners who just get degrees from all the top schools. They will study at Harvard, they'll go to Oxford, they'll go to Cambridge, they'll come back, do something at Yale. You got people like that, right? You're talking about one of them and a third grade teacher. That is an analogy to give you. And you're saying this third grade teacher is more advanced in the science than the one who did all that work. It's ridiculous. Okay, go ahead.
The obligatoriness of following qualified scholarship. B5.1 Muhammad Sa'id al-Buti. Because scholars accept the evidence from Quran, Sunnah, and reason as complete and intersubstantiative that the ordinary person or learned one, not at the level of textual deduction and ijtihad, is not entitled but to follow a qualified mujtahid who has a comprehensive grasp of the evidence.
Stop there. So he gave from the Quran, from the Sunnah, and from reason. These up to point B5, the section B, is all you need as a summary of what we're going to cover in the book Al-Madhaahib. So that point, I need all of you to memorize these points up to point B5. So section B in this book, right, from B 1.1 all the way to B 5.0. So from the introduction all the way up to B 5.0. If you memorize all of this, you have summarized all that's going to be conveyed in the book. In this book, we're going to explain all this in detail, right? So if you get these points, you have a functioning understanding of what we're going to talk about in detail, right? So I suggest all of you memorize these points from the Quran, from the Sunnah, and from the rational evidence. And then all of what we're going to discuss is going to be a detail of that. And there's a lot of details. But if you got the foundation, which is not a lot, what is that, 5 pages? Not even 5 pages. Yeah, 5 pages. Really 4. And they're not even a whole page. So 2.5 pages worth of information. If you can memorize that, it will make it clear from you when we go through this whole book. So please memorize these sections, right? He started with the Quran. He gave you the example of the Sunnah, the practice of the companions, the followers of the companions, gave you scholars who mentioned that, right? And then gave you rational evidence. So the foundation is laid. And all of that came from the book. It's just summarized, right? Okay, let's finish. Go ahead, finish the last section.
They say that a formal legal opinion, fatwa, from a mujtahid is in relation to the ordinary person, just as a proof from the Quran and Sunnah is in relation to the mujtahid. For the Quran, just as it obligates the scholar thoroughly versed in it to hold to its evidences and proofs, also obligates, per the narrator in the verse quoted above at B2.1, the uninformed person to adhere to the formal legal opinion of the scholar and his ijtihad.
Again, read that again.
They say that a formal legal opinion, fatwa, from a mujtahid is in relation to the ordinary person, just as a proof from the Quran and Sunnah is in relation to the mujtahid.
Right. So when you're a common person, the legal ruling of a mujtahid has the same station to you as the verses from the Quran and Sunnah have to that mujtahid. So in other words, everyone's at their level. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلِ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ قُلْ هَلْ يَسْتَوِي الَّذِينَ يَعْلَمُونَ وَالَّذِينَ لَا يَعْلَمُونَ. Allah tabaraka wa ta'ala said, ask, that's a command, those if you're having problem getting the book, if the link should work, and unless they brought them all already, I don't know, and I'll have more. If you're having problem getting the book, go to this link, not Amazon. Right? If you're having problem ordering the book, send an email with your information, and they'll get back to you right away. So if somehow you try to get the book and there's a problem, go to info@mmacinc.org and let them know, and they'll take care of it. So you don't need to go to Amazon. Just go to the link and we'll take care of it. So just go, and I think it's sold out, but go to the link and I'll ensure you'll get the book, right? Just send me who's looking, send it, and we'll make sure you get taken care of within the next 2 or 3 days, right? So just send so we know, so that I know how many to bring back. We'll take care of it, right? But do not go to Amazon. We must support our own. Because Amazon just going to take your money and they're going to give you nothing back. We're going to take your money and we're going to give that back in teaching, right? So there's a difference. Amazon going to take your money and never going to give you nothing back. We're going to take the money and we're going to use that money to teach you more. So there's a reason why you should support your own. We're going to take your money too, just like Amazon. But the difference is we're going to give back, because we're going to take that money and continue to teach more and more and more, right? That's what we're going to do. And anyone who's been around knows that's what we're going to do. We've proven that's what we do. We teach book after book after book after book. We don't stop. Right? So everything we do, if you sign the books, Imam, you don't have to worry about Amazon. Man, my signature ain't worth the paper it's written on, right? But I'm honored. I like Farouk. I like that. But I don't know if that's going to make a difference. No, we got to learn to support each other. We're trying to do something. And stop letting the enemies of Islam monopolize our products, and we build kufr with Islam. A'udhu billah. You want to be real technical. We're allowing others to come in our communities and sell us what they don't use. That is crazy. We allow others to come in our communities and sell us what they don't use. Something's wrong with us, really. So we're trying to learn Islam, and we give the money to support Islam to kuffar who use it against Islam. How does that work? Explain. We're trying to learn the deen. We give the money to learn the deen to the kuffar who use that money to fight Islam. Man, we whipped. We are really, 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 really bad. Oh my goodness. That's a whole nother story, but I'm not going to go there. All right. Let's not waste more time trying to put Amazon out of business, right? But I don't want to put Amazon out of business. I want to build our business so we can support ourselves, so we can build. That's what I want to do. Amazon do what they do. They got enough of our money. You know, they got our money on things we can't sell. So what we can sell, let us keep it for ourselves and let that money circulate in our own communities. Let's get into that habit. Make it a rule. Our money circulates in our own communities first. Let it go around a couple times. If we start thinking where our money goes and how does it work for us, we'll be further ahead down the road, right? So every institution we have, we should support ourselves and let that money go around and go around, go around. Some of us need to take a trip around the country. You could go to the Amish communities. You could go to the Mormon communities. You could go to the Quaker communities. You could go to the Jewish communities. You could go to the Pakistani communities. You could go to Chinese communities. You could just travel just to see how they do it. That money go around and around in their community before it go out, right? So if we did that just as Muslims, I'm not saying just as blacks, we should do it as blacks as well, but just as Muslims, if we circulated our money among the Muslims, that we find whenever we want a product, what Muslim is selling that product, right? If we had that mindset, is there a Muslim who sells this? Or are we going to buy it from them? Even if that Muslim is doing wholesale business with non-Muslims, we're going to make sure we strengthen the Muslim, right? So because we don't own industry, and hopefully we take that Muslim who one day, right now he's buying wholesale from a non-Muslim, for instance. We're going to build him up so he can go to manufacturing. And then when he goes to manufacturing, there's going to be us who are going to move into his position. And we start building institutions like that. That's how everyone else does it, right? To one point, that community becomes strong. That's how we got to think, right? I know this is part of the lessons, though, right? We're trying to build. So when it comes to the books we study, we only get them from Masjid Muhammad. We don't let nobody get in the way of that. And that's one aspect. If we find someone else who's doing something else, we only support those people, right? That way, our community becomes strong. You know, and pretty soon we don't have money problems because we supported each other. Nobody has money problems. And then we build to the point, say, listen, we've built so much, now we employ our own. Because now we've built enough that we actually have factories. We have to employ our own now. We employ people. So now we got young people, especially in our communities, who's running around getting in trouble. We can offer them jobs. Because we built. This is how this stuff works, right? I was talking to my wife about this morning. I said, we got to learn how to sacrifice, right? And we got to see ourselves not always at the same stage. We can grow, but we have to stick together. All of this stuff is relative, you know, very important. All right, that's my long spiel. Malika, is that a good refutation of the Amazon supporters? MashaAllah. All right, so go ahead, the last line.
For the Quran, just as it obligates the scholar thoroughly versed in it to hold to its evidences and proofs, also obligates, per the translator, in the verse quoted above at B2.1, the uninformed person.
That's the verse. Ask those who know if you don't know.
The uninformed person to adhere to the formal legal opinion of the scholar in his ijtihad.
Good. So that's the point. And all of this works. Right? Yeah. All right, Tahir, I got a joke for you. While we support Amazon and they take our money and go to Mars and the moon, we still on Earth catching hell. Oh my goodness. They take our money and take a trip to Mars and the moon while we stay on Earth catching hell. Oh my goodness. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله. اللهم اغفر لقومي فإنهم لا يعلمون. May Allah forgive our people. We don't know. We don't know better. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Okay, Tayyib. So is this point clear? Because we're going into the book tomorrow. Any questions? Because I have a question to ask you after this, after your questions. Any questions about what we covered? Wahid or Wahid, however you pronounce your name, Wahid or Wahid, whichever one it is. We've been talking about your idea. It's just finding a group of people who got some courage. That's hard with us. We got people with money. We could do it. But getting them to stick together is the struggle. Brother Wahid, he has connection with fish and things. that he wants to import. It's something we can do. We just got to find people who want to put their money together and cooperate. We do have, all of us, we have communities. We could sell fish. I'm working on it. Support me. I'm going to do some amazing things if I get your help. Inshallah. Listen, I love all Muslims with no reservations. Everyone who says La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah is my brother and sister, and I love them with all my heart. But I am specifically, and I have a special concern for the condition of Black Muslims in America. As I have a general concern for Black people in America. A big concern, and I don't make no apologies for it, that I have a real concern with Black Muslim communities. We are being decimated and going into extinction, and no one gives a crap if it happens. I'm watching it. I've been around a long time. I see our communities deteriorating. Right? All right, Rosalinda, you need to connect with me. Don't make a barrier. We got work to do. Let me tell you something. All right, let me explain something to y'all. I don't mind talking about this. Listen, because we're not doing nothing haram. So I'm not going to do no sin. So forget about that. You got some criminal stuff in your mind, I'm not the one to talk to. I know the other side of the fence. I'm not doing that. Period. So whatever we're going to do is lawful. I'm not doing nothing haram. Forget about it. And that's not cap. I've been to prison and I'm not going back, right? So no, we're not doing that. We don't have to. All right, is that clear with everybody? That's for my alphabet friends and everyone who's listening, right? That's clear, right? We're not doing nothing unlawful. Forget about the laws of America. We're not doing nothing that contradicts the sacred law. We're not going to do that. Can we have a general agreement on that? No, a specific agreement. That whatever we do together, it can't contradict the sacred law, period. Right? No, this is very important because some people think we got something else up our sleeve. I don't. Only thing up this sleeve is the sacred law. And anything that contradicts that, got to get out. Right? That's it. Period. And if you get to know me, close hand, I don't play that. We're not doing nothing haram. We're not doing it. We're not doing that. You can forget about it. Right? We're not doing that. So that should be clear. And Imam Fahim and Imam Naeem, who work with me regularly, they tell you, he don't play. Not when it comes to that. Especially when it's people's money. Definitely. Because I don't want to be on the day of judgment and somebody taking my good deeds. I don't even have enough to give. So I definitely can't afford to do something that somebody else eating my good deeds. I can't do that. Sorry. Right? I don't want to be wealthy in this world and bankrupt on the day of judgment. Not me. And I don't want that for you. So we ain't doing that. With that said, let me just give you a quick example. Very fast. Right now, we have, that I can see, 94 people. And it goes up and down and up. But right now, we got that many people live listening. Every morning, there is between 75 to 100 live active listeners every single day. That's us. And there are way more who just don't say nothing. Only reason I know these numbers because they're interacting, right? Sister Eleanor, give me 1 second. It is book B from 1.0 up to B 5.0 in the Reliance. That's the area. When I say memorize it, you don't got to memorize it word for word. You just need to get all the points, right? Just get the points. So it's verses of Quran, it's the practice of the Prophet and the companions and the followers, and then it's the rational evidence. That's it. It's really three things. It's 5 sections, but three things. So there's 2 verses, right, in there. Then there is the practice of the Prophet with the companions. I told you about Mu'adh ibn Jabal, right? Then there's the Tabi'een and how they worked, as Suyuti mentioned it, from the route of Ibn Hazm, right? And then the rational evidence, right? That's all you got, right? So I'm going to give you an example, right? If everyone at every class gave, for who are capable, because everybody's not capable, but I'm talking about sacrifice. If everyone, every class gave $5, right? Every day, you would have $500, roughly. We're saying just $5. And those who are a little better could give 10 every day, right? I'm going to show you something, seriously. And this is not beyond doable. That's why I tell people, don't make fun of what we did as Black people, as a community, even if there was misguidance. Listen to me. So every day I come to class, I give $5, right? I'm in that habit. I just Cash App, Zelle, whatever, $5. Or I did it weekly, $35, right? 7 days a week. Listen to me. If 100 people did that, right? We're talking about from the $5, that's 500 times 7, that's $3,500 a week, right? If we did it, $3,500 a week puts us at $14,000 a month. $14,000 a month puts us at what? $168,000 a year. What the hell can we do with that as investments? Now we find, listen to we find. We did that all, we're a nonprofit, we're 501c3, we're all on the same mission to learn. We go and we together, we take our communities. So we got Imam, I'm giving you the communities we can cooperate right now. We got Imam Fahim's community, Imam Naim's community, Sheikh Abdul Karim's community. We got Sheikh Imam Suleiman's community. We got our community in New Mexico with Kashif and those brothers and sisters, right? We got our community in Kansas, Brother Abdul Rahim. We got people in Florida, right, that we can work with. We got people all over the country, right? And we started with all that money, finding in those communities people who got business and they're supporting in the community and the community knows them. And we started helping them slowly but surely to build. We started lending them to tax-free, no interest. But you got to give a certain portion to the community, right? That's the deal. That's a contract. We're going to support you. It's not unlawful. It's not haram. The new masjid in Philly, I'm just giving you an example. We have one base. Masjid Muhammad functions as that base because we've already proven what we do. We work together. We already proved what we do. We've been doing it every day, nonstop. You wouldn't be here if we weren't doing it, right? That easy. Within 1 year, you could actually change the reality of some of your communities. All you got to do is be serious. That easy. Now, that's with everybody helping. Some of us could do it ourselves together. So we're saying we got 10 people who could do $50. Those 10 people take the place of the 100, right? Some of us got it like that. That we could say, you know what? For 1 year, I'm going to sacrifice $350 a week for 1 year. I'm going to do that myself. right? And then you just move. It's that easy, right? Do you understand my point? So now you're talking about 10 of us who can do that. There's the money. 10 of us, we could do it. We don't need 100. And if we get the others just to do their 5, we can do it. Now, let me show you how that works. And this is all lawful. It's us. It's not haram for us to help each other. It's not unlawful, not by the government and not by us. We got to follow tax laws, but this is all donations. So we're building our community. That's it. Nothing wrong. With 501c3, you can get your, what they call those things? Your tax deductible. That's why we have 501c3s. You can do tax deductible. People get it. You write to info@MMAC. All of your donations are listed. They'll send you a form saying, hey, you donated this much a year. You keep your records. We keep our records. It's all good. No big problem, right? That's what the government gives us the opportunity to do. We just fail to do it. The government says do it. And we say, no, I'm too lazy. It's our fault, right? We don't stick together. But now, let me give you an example of that. I lived it. All the time we make fun of the Ansar community. How many of us make fun of the Ansar community, right? Come on, let's be honest. Dr. York and the Nubian Islamic Hebrews and all, the Nuwabians. How many of us make fun of that? Let's be honest. Come on, Farouk. Come on, Akil, right? Let's crack some Dr. York jokes, right? Now I'm gonna strike back, right? No, listen, right? We make fun of the Ansars. We joke and we say, oh, he was deviant, blah, blah. And that's true. He was religiously off his rocker. But guess what? What he did do, he was just corrupt. Let's say he's not corrupt. When I grew up in the Ansars, I grew up in that. We used to make every single one of those men who would go out $100 a day. Let's do the math. Y'all ready? I was one of them. Every single day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you bring in $100 a day. How much is that a year? Come on, mathematicians, quick. $100 a day, every day, 365 days a year. How much money is that? Come on, where's your math tip? $36,500 a year. Every mailman did that, right? Every mailman did that. We had, at the height of that, right, about 300 peddlers around the country at the height. 300 men going out around the country at the height. You're talking about how much is that a day? 300 at the height of his movement. In those days, they had about 300 people going out. We did it. We did the math. How much money is that? A day. That's $30,000 a day. A day. Every day. The mailman ain't have nothing on the Ansars. So you're talking about, that's how they bought brownstones in Brooklyn, blocks of stuff, land, that same land that Sheikh Dawood and the Sunni Muslims, Orthodox, dropped. He took that money and bought that land and built upon it. That's facts. We're talking history. The land the Orthodox Muslims couldn't take care of, that deviant dude with his crazy ideas and his mass scheme came and bought the same land that the Orthodox people failed to take care of. Do you understand my point? And we're talking history, just facts, whether we like them or not. That's history, that's facts. And I just showed you how he did it. Now, let's move on. So he got this money coming in every day. I'm just showing you real stuff. Every day he got this amount of money coming in, right? His people are dedicated. They're building. Then what does he do? Not only does he do that, he builds businesses. I was living in Brooklyn. We had dry cleaners. We had restaurants. We had clothing and bookstores. They made their own books. They made their own tapes. They made their own incense. They made their own oils. They did all of it. They had over 360 pamphlets and books. They did it. They printed it. They made their own CDs. They made their own tapes. Everything themselves with their own money. I lived it. No one can tell me I worked in it. I was there. They did it. Right? I lived it. You can't tell me. You can't tell somebody who didn't. I lived it. I was there. Right? They had their own stuff. They were independent. Right? Now, do you know how much a brownstone costs in Brooklyn? A brownstone. And they had a bunch of them, blocks of them. So that means they invested in real estate. They built. So, all right, and they were deviant. We accept it. They were crazy as all outdoors. I agree 100%. Kufr. But you cannot deny what they did. Now, since we got all this truth and all this haqq and we on the sunnah, why are we poor? Tell me. There's models. The Nation did it. Marcus Garvey and them did it. The Ansars did it. What the heck is wrong with us with all this haqq? Explain. Why are we poor? I want to understand why we're poor. We on the truth. We're following the sunnah. Why we broke? As a community, I'm talking about. Why are we being decimated? This is real stuff. Because we don't sacrifice. We don't believe in each other. And we keep talking about what happened to us before. Okay, let's learn from the past. Let's make sure we're on the correct learning. We're doing that. We're doing it. We're learning. We're learning the knowledge. We're learning all of this. All of us are not, we're educated. We're researching. We're telling you to learn Arabic. We're giving you the books. We're showing you, we're doing it. Now, where's your part? Where's your sacrifice? For me, and I say that, I don't forget that because in that, I learned how to be a soldier. I'm not worried about it. I know what we can do. I see the mistakes. Okay, we're going to fix that. We're going to learn right. Let's roll. I'm down. Right? It's doable. Right? It's doable. And all we got to do is stick to the truth. Right? And the way you make sticker, most of those organizations, while people were corrupt because people were ignorant of the religion, I'm saying, first and foremost, take care of the religion. So none of us are ignorant of the religion. That's first and foremost. The problem was with how that got on the line, people were not learning the religion well. They were ignorant of the rules of the religion. Let's fix that. We're not ignorant. We know the rules of the religion. We know halal and haram. Now why we can't stick together? It's not, the Jews do it. Go look at upstate New York. They got whole Jewish communities will blow your mind. Just not too far outside of New York City. They got whole Jewish, in New York City they got them, but I'm talking about a little bit up to the north. They got whole Jewish city communities, man, it will blow your mind. They do it. What's wrong with us? They do it. You got Chinatown. You got going to North Jersey, going to cities in North Jersey. They got a whole community from the subcontinent, Pakistani communities, businesses flourishing, everything. Why we can't do it? What's wrong? Was haram for us and halal for everyone else? I'm just saying we got to get serious, right? We got to get serious, right? And listen, this is, so I'm talking about that issue, right? So it don't take a lot. We can do it. But what it is that we got to believe in ourselves. And for me, I'm telling you, I'm down 100%. And anyone around me will tell you, no, he's serious. Anyone, you don't got to listen to me. Anyone around me, anyone who knows me will tell you that guy been on this as long as I knew him, and he ain't stopped. Anyone, even my enemies will tell you that. The ones who don't like me, because I'm too Ahl Sunnah, I'm too Ash'ari, I'm too, they will tell you, he dead serious though. And I remember all the fighting, people attacking me, and we ain't never stopped. Overthrow, canceling, get rid of, and we've grown every single day since the day I was in a position to make a difference. And I want to work with people who want to build. That's it, man. Because when I'm dead, I want to see our people in a better condition. When I'm dead, I want to see us in a better condition. When I'm gone, I never want to see us and I was alive to help be in the same position. I don't know, because I believe in us. When I'm gone, I want to see us still moving. I don't want us to be talking about, when Malcolm X was alive, when Elijah Muhammad was alive, when Imam Siraj was alive, when Imam Zayd was alive, when Imam Amin was alive. No, what about you now? Keep telling me about what everybody else was. What about you right now? And all of us should be working for that reality for the next generation. And we benefit. Maybe we will see it all. Alhamdulillah, that's good. But if we don't, the next generation, we should ensure that they're all right. Especially when you look at the underserved, just the description I could give for what's going on in our communities. And if the Muslims don't get themselves together, forget about the rest of us as a people. If the Muslims don't get themselves together, forget about the rest of us. We are the people of truth. We must believe that. And if we believe that, there's a responsibility with that. It can't just be rap. We just talk. No, we got to do something. And part of organizing all that, and that's the solution. I gave you the solution. The solution is us continue to learn daily and to expand our learning, to invest in ourselves, to use those investments to build like-minded communities and people, right? Right? Then to build institutions that are sustainable, right? That's it. That's it. It's not hard. And to trust somebody, because you can't do it individually. You have to do it as a group. So you have to trust somebody, right? You have to trust somebody. And that's what we have to do. But you have to know the person you trust, and you have to get to know each other. That's why we have the barbecue. That's why we have the African American Summit, so we can get one-on-one. You meet me, you know how I roll, you know how she rolls, you know each other. We together, we've really become a family. It's not just talk. That's what all this stuff is for. Now, I actually met Imam. I'll give you the sister Imari. You can't tell her about what Imam will do. She know herself. She know herself. You don't have to tell her. She actually experienced. She knows. Nah. They treat me like a family. She's a witness. I got other things I could be doing. I don't have to pay her no attention. She ain't the most significant person out of everybody in the whole group. But she was treated as if she was the most significant person there. And everybody else can say the same thing, not just her. They came and people made sure I was okay. And we didn't do as excellent as I would like it to be, right? But to the best of our ability, all of you got to feel the same way. Right? Abdul Wali, you're getting sleepy. We already know what we're doing. Just help. That's all. Just help. That's all we need you to do. Right. All right. Am I clear with this? Am I clear? Abdul Wali, you know I love you, Hak. And you do what you do. But those who you're serious, just reach out to me. Those of you who are really serious and it's not just talk, let's get together. Because all I need is, if I get 10 good soldiers, with the soldiers I already have, we could do that stuff ourselves without all these people. And we would like all of our people to be involved. But give me 10 good soldiers that are serious, that really want to build, that really want to work, just 10. I know what we could do ourselves. That are serious, because I have them soldiers here in Atlantic City with me, and I have Imam Fahim, and I have Imam Naeem, and I have Sheikh Abdul Kareem, and I have Aisha Prime. I know what we can do if we all come together. We don't take a lot. Just take some serious people that are dead serious. We'll get it done. Trust me. I agree. You know what's the check to that? Sacred law knowledge. As Akil said, I can name 20 cult leaders or prosperity preachers who were millionaires among Black people, but where are the Black communities, any of them established? We have to build our understanding of peoplehood. That is knowledge of the sacred law, right? That's knowledge of the sacred law. That's why we have to learn. So there is no cult leaders or prosperity preachers. There are righteous people who follow the sacred law and are attached to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's the problem for that one. That's the problem for that one. Learn the sacred law. There's no one that's interested in getting rich. We are people whose concern is the akhirah. We take care of our basic needs and that's it. Let's roll on. Let's build, right? So the problem is the knowledge of the sacred law there, because there shouldn't be no cult leaders, right? And I want to share this to you. Remember, there are such things as people who act like they're down, but they're really not down. And what they want to do is interrupt what you're doing. So you can't share every single move with everybody. You can give a general thing. But when we're actually moving, you can't do that. No organization who's successful does that. None. And what you mean by a business plan, we already laid out a plan. You know what's going on. We live it. We do it every day. But what that sometimes becomes an excuse not to do anything. And those people who think like that, we don't even want them. Seriously, they're full of it. And watch what they're building while they got all these plans. See what they're doing. See the work they're doing. Just pay attention, right? Obviously, it's not working for you. So how is it working for us? Right? Right? I'm not that stupid. Right? So I say that again. If you serious, let's join hands. If you're just talking junk, I ain't interested in all that. We're gonna still work and we're gonna still do what we're doing, but we ain't being distracted by that nonsense. And I'm not saying that there's not the need for planning, but planning is done among those who are really working, not those who just want to see if it works first before I put my foot in the water. No. Real people, they get into work first. They're in it. Real soldiers, they don't need to see what the general got in the whole plan of the struggle. They're soldiers. They go to work. They trust their leader and they go to work. That's real soldiers. That's real soldiers. Others, let me see if I can agree with you. And for me, I believe the best work is the work you do yourself. I don't want no government grant. I don't want none of that. I want us to do it. We don't need an easy way out. That doesn't help us. Let us do it. We don't need the governments. They gave us enough that we need. They gave us the ability to raise money for ourselves, and you could do what you need to do. They gave us enough. They gave us 501c3s. That's enough. Now let us do our part. They gave us what we need. We just do it. Stop asking everyone to do for you what you can do for yourself. And I'm not ruling out the others who do that. I'm just talking about me, how I see it. And I'm just sharing my thoughts with you, right? All right. So am I clear? Those who are down, hit me up. Right? Send your information right there, and I will personally reach out to you. Only serious people, because if you ain't serious, I'm going to tell you, nah, no, thank you. I'm not wasting my time, right? Right? But if those who are really serious and you really want to do the work, we'll talk. We'll get together. I have no problem with talking to you. I won't send you to somebody else. I'll personally talk to you. Send your information there and we'll talk. But I'm letting you know, I'm the same way face to face as I'm on this camera. So if I see you full of it, I'm going to tell you, bro, you full of it. I ain't down. See you. Assalamu alaikum. I ain't doing that. Right? Because I understand what this stuff works. And I understand that everybody don't want to see good for us. And they will, if they can, destroy us and everything we're doing. I do realize that. So, I know a lot of us are rats. Too many are rats. They're not soldiers. And soon as a little pressure come, they'll betray all of us. I've seen it firsthand. I know. So I'm not going for it. They'll make up something to destroy us. Every black movement that existed was sabotage from the inside. So I'm aware of that. I'm aware of it. And I don't got no problem telling you I don't do that. That's why I said we're not doing nothing haram. And we don't have to. We don't have to do nothing unlawful. It's not about us. We're building for future generations while you don't know what rat is? Rat is the one who acts like he's down, he's involved, and then he goes back and undermines the whole effort. And tries to destroy it from within. Snitch, rat, someone who's trying to harm you. All right. So y'all with me? That's why I say we can't do nothing haram. Absolutely. Never. That's why we all got to know the sacred law. Ignorance is our worst enemy. Ignorance of the sacred law. So we got to know that whatever we're doing is lawful. Can't do anything haram. We can't. We cannot afford it. And Allah will protect us from the rest. But we never can do nothing haram. Never, 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 never. Not because we're worrying about anyone else. We fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's haram. We can't do it. No. I don't care how much money it is. We can't do it. No, it's haram. That's it. Easy. But like I said, don't take a big group. That's it. All right, I'm done. A long, long lecture, but it's needed. Barakallahu fikum wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. May Allah make us successful in all of our efforts and our intentions, even if we never see those efforts, as long as we have sincere intentions, Allah will reward us according to our intentions, inshallah, even if we never see it. But hopefully we do what we do and we see it. Barakallahu bikum. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.